Okay.
Okay, three, 2, 1. Good evening, everybody. This is Angelique Tsang from the Superwomen Babes Club with step 4 of the Calling Into One process with Maxine Clancy. And basically, we're going to talk tonight about setting a course for opening yourself to happy, healthy love. Just as a reminder, step 1 was basically divining your vision. Step 2 was really looking at all the unfinished business, or the, basically the things that you still have to end before you become ready for opening yourself to love. And step 3 was last night, where we spoke extensively about healing core wounds and healing false identities, all the things that, tend to stop us from having or even believing in happy, healthy love. Tonight, we're going to ask Maxine everything about the tools, how to create this basically how to make the first steps now that we are so self-aware after 3 weeks of working on ourselves, if we decide to do the Calling It Away. And what is step 4? Thank you for being here, Maxine.
Hi, sorry, I was coughing. Hi, everybody. Good evening. Hope you're well. Hope you're still in the flurry of Valentine's love for yourself and others. Yes. Great to be here, Angelique. Thanks again. So yeah, step 4 is setting your course, and this is the phase after we've done a lot of the deep work, as you know, that we were talking about yesterday. And it's really the start of the transformation, embedding transformation within ourselves. And for step 4, we would have ended, I didn't mention it yesterday, but we would have done yesterday, the client would have, at the end of week 3, would have done a releasing ceremony. And one of the roles of the coach is to also go through this ceremony with the client. And I love this ceremony. It's so powerful. It's really about the three or four things that you really want to release about your old identity and the way you've embodied your old identity, and then embracing 3 things or qualities that you are standing for now, from your true love identity. And I just want to tell you a little story about this, because one of my clients did this releasing ceremony, and it was really, really powerful. And we did it together, and then she burnt all the pieces of paper, and about a week later she was burgled. Every single piece of jewelry in her house went. She had a book, a journal, where she had been writing everything since her divorce in this journal, and it was in her gym bag. And for some reason, the burglars stole her gym bag, and this journal was in the gym bag. And when she came back and told me after this had happened, she said, she said, I know without a shadow of a doubt that when I did the releasing ceremony, I was so embracing my full self. She said that everything that's really associated to my marriage, to that old sort of identity that she had about herself, even the journal went. And she said, talk about how powerful we are as manifestors, that we can create a scenario like that where actually I think it was taken out. And what was really interesting was at the end of the coaching and after the coaching, she had some integration coaching. But what actually happened, when she got her insurance money out, she actually went, because jewelry is all about the memories that you create with jewelry and who gives you the jewelry and the significance of jewelry. But what she actually did, she went with her parents and made a whole special day of going out, having lunch, going to the jewelers and selecting items of jewelry with her parents in order to embody the new her. And she said it was amazing. She said she bought all these beautiful bits of jewelry. But I just wanted to sort of share that story, because I think it's really powerful to recognize how much we are part of that co-creative, that creative process in life.
Yeah.
And that when we really begin to embody a new vision for ourselves, which is what the whole of step 4 about, is really embodying the vision of love fulfilled and a you being in a relationship with love in your life, in all areas of your life.
Yes.
So that was, you know, a really powerful experience for that client. Sorry, so step 4 is really, as I said, about embodying the vision. And there's a difference. I'm sure you know a lot about visualization, Angelique.
Yes, just before this, I was leading a mastermind where I was talking about dimensionalization, which is a process that Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches. And dimensionalization is different from visualization in the sense that dimensionalization requires you to actually be in that new reality, or that reality that already exists, but that you are now calling into, you know, the 3-dimensional reality. So basically you walk around, let's say you want to dimensionalize a new house or a new job, you walk around in the new job, you walk around in, you know, you are in the new office, you are having those client meetings. So visualization is probably the same, but, you know, dimensionalization is actually putting your whole body in there. Whereas visualization is more like you're seeing it as if you were living it. So I'm sure that this is the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is visualization, you know, Shakti Gawain, she sort of first brought after her book about visualization. But with what we're doing, calling the one, is visioning, which is very similar to what you just spoke about. What did you call it?
Dimensionalizing.
Dimensionalizing. Yeah, so where you have a 3D experience where you're actually in the process, but also visioning is really about a spiritual process which is governed by your intuition and by your superconscious. Wow. So again, in that, like dimensionalization, what you're actually doing, you are emotionally feeling, like really embodying and feeling the experience, so that you're you know, like you say, you're walking around with your partner, you're really becoming and being and seeing and experiencing yourself as that vision that you wish to bring into your life. And it is way more powerful than visualization. And one of the key components of it is also being able to really feel it and feel it in your body. So bringing it right down into your body so that you actually have an experience as if that is where you are right now. And it's essential, it's really essential that as part of this this process in step 4, when you're setting your course, is that you're really going within and receiving the inner guidance and the inner wisdom of your soul with regards to creating an alignment with your soul's purpose. So this particular week is about turning within. You know, calling in the one is about, you know, living from the inside out. And so it's really going within, listening to that inner voice, listening to that inner guidance, and being open to receive it in alignment with what your soul really, really is here for. So getting clear about your purpose, really being, looking at, you know, what is it? Why am I here? What is my purpose? What brings me great joy? What brings me great bliss? How can I be more of that in the world? And so, you know, because we know that when we're in a state of bliss and joy and happiness, when we're living in alignment with that, we experience more joy, we experience more love, and that in itself comes from within us and out of us. So that's really, you know, this week is it's a juicy week. It's, you know, it's really juicy, and it's looking at, you know, the question, you know, if anyone wants to really embody this and practice this, you know, just sit there and meditate on the question, what does the fulfillment of love look like in my life? Because when you meditate on that and you just sit with it, that really allows you to listen to the answers that come up from within. I need to sneeze.
No, thank you. What I love about what you're telling me is actually what you're sharing now. Thank you, Alicia. Lots of love to you too. What I'm hearing from you is that instead of this calling into one process becoming an ego process, meaning you're coming from your old identity, you're coming from your
Yeah.
business, we're actually calling in the higher wisdom of our soul. So call like the like really tuning in to the love fulfilled, that cannot just be about us being selfish and being happy with one person. It's actually, it will touch on all us aspects of our lives. And in order to attract this type of love, to experience this type of love, we must become that person first, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You see, you have to see your sense of self. You know, when you were talking about, you know, the visioning process, and sorry, I can't think of that word that you used.
Dimensionalizing.
Dimensional. I must write that down. I've never heard of the way. I've never heard of it explained in that way. But if you talk about a dimensional process of visioning, yeah, you're really saying, well, what is my sense of self in this experience? Who am I in this experience? And you know, the biggest shift that people have to make between what tends to happen is, you know, when we create, and we create from our ego, we create in alignment with limitation, because we're being pushed by our pains in life as opposed to being inspired by possibility.
Yes.
So part of, you know, this process is really, you know, holding that possibility for love, holding that miracle for love and love in your heart and in your vision for your future. And then saying, well, what that actually does is it allows you to really open up to the possibility, as opposed to being limited by your limitations or your limiting beliefs. And in the process of doing that, what it allows is, it allows you to really grow and to open up within yourself to a new sense of being, and to your true whole self, as opposed to your incompleteness. And that is, you know, as we've sort of spoken about earlier this week, the biggest problem people face is their sense of incompleteness. And, you know, often that's why people get into relationships and they get into the wrong relationships, because unconsciously they want to complete themselves and they're looking for a relationship to complete themselves. Yeah. Whereas this whole process allows you to feel more complete, because you're really living in alignment with your truth.
Yeah.
What's more powerful than that, than living in alignment with your truth?
Yeah. I think the whole thing, so this is, I think, a lot of the skepticism that people will bring in when they think about, oh, calling in the one or actually manifesting your soulmate, is that their belief is that people are still coming from that old sense of incomplete self, whereas actually the way that people are now walking through the process with us is it's showing us that we first have to finish, you know, the unfinished business, so that we can start anew, understanding our patterns, understanding, you know, what we have been creating and how unfulfilling that was, and now coming from new sense of possibility regarding, you know, the true sense of who we are. And I think the testimonial that you gave about your client being robbed of everything that actually was like some kind of had a tie to the past marriage is so powerful, because I do believe that when we really make a commitment to create something new, everything must fall into place, and even a robbery will show you what you have been committing to. And so the things that must go, the relationships, the jobs, you know, the false beliefs, the false you know, the false patterns of survival or relating to people, all these things will crumble away when you really make a decision. So when you've done step 3, in a very in a committed way, the universe is going to show you where you are. And then step 4 is only going to empower you with more of an understanding of the true nature of your being, which is far beyond the person that you believe you are, from your programming into addictions to dysfunctional relationships or unhealthy needs or unhealthy beliefs of I'm not worthy or I'm not good enough or blah blah blah. So yeah, this is so beautiful to actually really know that this is how this process works. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, it's, we did reach our 15 minutes, but structure has integrity, and if you have the structure of this course is so powerful in that anything that no longer serves does fall away. So part of the process, it sounds like a cliche, but the butterfly has to go from the caterpillar through that cocoon stage, and then it all falls away, and then it emerges. And that is what happens in this process. The integrity of the structure is so strong that you find that it creates each part feeds into each other and creates a very, very powerful shift. And the next, it's a 7-week course, so the next 3 weeks are really based on embodying that and working on the different skills that you need to develop within yourself in order to make that transition to really live in that new, that new vision of yourself, which is based on the possibility of love. And if you think that, what we've been talking about all this time is, when people are trapped in their false sense of self, and they've got strategies and behaviors and patterns and addiction that are in alignment with that false sense of self, well, when they let that go, they have to really move into a higher structure. And part of the higher structure is living in the truth of what your soul's here for. And I love it. It's beautiful work. It's really, really powerful. And just, I think perhaps for some people, for the first time, they really experience true happiness as a result of living from their true self.
Yeah. What I'm loving is what you were saying, co-creative tools, which are, one of them is intuition, because actually just before this interview, I was actually leading a mastermind where I was showing a video of Dr. Joe Dispenza, testimonial video of a friend of mine who met his soulmate in a walking meditation before she even appeared in his life. So basically the teaching is because nothing is ever created or destroyed, everything is already existing now. You just have to embody that state or the beingness of that specific reality, and then you must meet that reality in your factual reality. And so this friend of mine actually met his wife in a walking meditation, meaning he didn't meet her in an embodied form. He met her energy, and he felt her energy, and even felt that she had brown hair. And then before he met her for 2 months long, he was basically walking around in the knowingness that this woman existed, that his soulmate existed before. And actually before that, he didn't even believe in that type of stuff. He was really doubting whether it even existed. And then the testimony was so beautiful because you could see them sitting next to each other. And he said 2 months later, everything brought us together in Vienna, and he lives in Germany and she lives in Vienna. And then very quickly because they met each other in this field where they probably already, that possibility always was existing. When he met her in reality, they recognized each other. They had a really deep connection. And this is what I really think is like, when our false identities falls away, and we go into this, what you call higher structure, higher order, when we go to these high dimensions of what reality is really about, then we actually know what is right for us. We don't have to second guess. We don't have to live in doubt or fear or worry. We know is our future. We know who are the people that are aligned with us. And once we decide, when we set the intention to create that, it is not because we are creating it. It is because that future is already being lived by us. We are just now enjoying the process of really understanding that this is a fact. This is what we are going to be living. So so that's why I'm a little bit thinking about what is creation, because sometimes you could also say that creation is a process of just experiencing what you were going to experience anyway. So but anyways, we still have to set intentions, and we still have to really embody, and those are choices that we have to make.
They are. And you know what, the just on the what you were just saying about energetically meeting your partner in another dimension prior to meeting them, I've heard of a number of people have those experiences, and I think that, I do a meditation, I call it the golden thread meditation, where you actually extend from your heart chakra outwards by a golden thread, and you are with your super conscious self. And so that lives in all different dimensions, and it's such a powerful exercise in connecting with your future self, your self that's already out there, that when you do exercises like that, you really do extend your energies beyond your current reality into different dimensions. And that in itself allows you to have an expanded version of yourself in the physical reality. So it totally makes sense that you can meet your partner out into the extended sense of reality. And you can actually, what it does, it allows you to let go of the attachment in the physical reality to having to worry about, when am I going to meet this person? Because you just know that it's already happened.
Yes.
And in the letting go, you free yourself up to just live and be and get on and pour your love into everything you want to pour your love into. In the knowing that it's happened, it's done, it's coming, and non-attachment is one of the most essential ingredients to create.
Yeah, absolutely, because attachment means you don't have it, and because the universe can only give us what we send out, because the universe is always showing us who we are. It doesn't show us what we want. It doesn't show us what we deserve, what we're worthy of. It shows us what we send out. It is a copy machine of who we are. So when we're sending out, I'm not worthy, those are the people we're going to meet. If we're sending out, can't trust men, can't trust women, can't trust love, that's what we're going to receive. So in order to extend ourselves to an expanded version of reality, we need to become that person. So my question is, Maxine, imagine that there are people who basically just skip the first 3 steps of this calling into one process, and they're just going to go to, let's say, step 4, just going to manifest these people into their reality. I mean, I have been there. What I know is that when you start to create reality and you still have unfinished business, by God, you will manifest that too, because subconsciously
you will.
You still have that active in your consciousness. So if you still don't trust love, or if you still don't believe really that people can choose completely to be with you, those are the people you're going to meet. And that is what I have created. To talk about my friend that created his wife, for years and years and years, he has been doing work on himself, so he's been doing lots of family ancestral work, lots of different types of work. So he actually even before he was doing step 4, he was doing step 1, 2, and 3 in a lot of years of personal development work. So I mean, it doesn't matter what type of work you do, but you cannot really skip step 1 and 2 and 3, I would say. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There's lots of different ways of doing step 1, 2, and 3 with different people and different different modalities. But essentially, you know, in order to move beyond where you currently are, you do need to do the inner work. And you know, I think that people I know, perhaps on this process, I know have done a lot of work on themselves, and their soulmates, their soul partners, or whatever. But what has happened is essentially they have shifted from that incompleteness to a complete sense of self. And I think that that is where the real power lies, is where is your power? Where is your power? Where is your focus? If your power and your focus and your energy is directed into your unconscious beliefs, your negative beliefs, your assumptions about life, your definitions about life, then you are going to manifest and create from that consciousness. Yeah. You know, from that identity, that's what you're going to create from. When you do the inner work and you actually fully shift to an empowered sense of self, to a sense of self that feels complete, that feels whole, that has taken the learnings that your soul has come here to and has really embodied those learnings, then you are going to create from that consciousness. And that is a higher consciousness. And that's an expanded consciousness from perhaps where you were, you know, a year ago or 2 years ago or 5 years ago. And so therefore you manifest and create a completely different relationship. And, you know, I've had this question because obviously I met my, you know, a shadow of a doubt, I met my soulmate, and, you know, 12 years later, we ended up separated, divorced, you know. So people often say to me, well, you've met your, what are you going to do now? You know, you're stuck.
Not only one soul.
Sort of thing. And it's interesting because, yeah, absolutely. There's not only, and I think, but some people don't realize this. Some people, you know, they don't realize this. And you have more than one soulmate. This is one thing I want to let people know. And secondly, you know, he is still my soulmate. I mean, we sat in my kitchen today having a chat about our children and a chat about all different sorts of things. And, you know, there's a lot of love between us. There's, you know, we don't love each other in the way we used to love each other, but there's a lot of love between us. We have 2 children together. And we, you know, there's a lot of generosity of spirit and good feeling. And, you know, we know that we are brought together to learn deep lessons. And this is the interesting thing. Sometimes one of you in a relationship will evolve beyond the lesson. Yes. And when one of you evolves beyond the lesson, okay, and the other person in that relationship is not coming with you, then there may be a point where you have to break up, and you have that, you know, that separation that occurs, and you still learn the lessons as a result of that breakup. In fact, you may learn even more evolved lessons, but essentially our souls are always evolving, and we are living on the leading edge of consciousness. So if we are doing that, we're not necessarily going to be keeping up with everybody. And, you know, we have to accept that part of life is that there are breakups and there are new, you know, coming to our world, and we're constantly growing. And I think, you know, we're afraid of that. We're afraid of that particular thing, because when we're feeling incomplete, we feel that the other person makes us complete. So therefore we are afraid of that separation, that disconnection. But actually, it's always about reconnecting to yourself. The more connected you are to yourself and your whole self, then you can live in the world completely from a place of empowerment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just want to
I was going on then. I was like,
no. The last question. how do you know you're living from that complete sense of self? Because I think a lot of people have such a lack of experience or lack of mirroring of what that would mean. You know, the few people that are living in this world, we put them on pedestals, and we make them immortal or really special. But I would like to say that it is actually a state that is natural to all of us, is that we haven't been practicing seeing these states as normal. So we see them almost as what we would call paranormal, extraordinary, whereas that should be our natural state. How do we actually recognize that we're in such a state? Because I think I know people who live in those states, and I think very often, maybe 75% of my life right now, I am living in those states of like completeness with myself, or in alignment with my soul. But how would people recognize that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Angelique. I love that question. So I want to, point out, I don't live in the state of enlightenment.
No, none of us.
I am.
We would die. We would die.
I'm not constantly in a state of nirvana. But what I would say, and I think this is essentially what is one of the key components when in my experience and from working with people, when people are living from a sense of their true love identity and their completeness and their wholeness, and when they really embody it, what happens is they orientate from a place of empowered choice. So we touched on this on one of the other sessions. We touched on this about being able to be the observer and being able to choose. And you see, what's really interesting, and I think people, we hear so much that, love is the only thing, love is the power, etc., etc. And that, look, don't get me wrong, love is, essential. I can't think of the particular phrase I want to use, but it really, what precedes love is the choice, because to love is a choice. We can wake up every day, and this is what goes wrong in marriages and relationships, is people forget. They think they fell in love. They to fall in love is almost like you give your power away. To choose to love is where you really get to have an empowered relationship with yourself and others. When you wake up every day and you choose to love yourself, that's empowerment. When you wake up every morning and you choose to extend love into the world to other people, that's empowerment. Yes. And the real difference is I really believe that people that have a complete sense of self, they are empowered in the choices they make every day, but throughout their day, throughout the minutes of their day. Am I choosing something that's going to serve the highest good for me and everybody else here? Am I choosing to do and to relate and to be in a manner that will empower others right now in this moment? And really, people that are enlightened and empowered, they do that throughout their day. They don't just do it one day a week. They don't just do it once a month. They don't do it, yeah. And that is the difference. That, to me, is, and I know myself, when I'm living in my day from a sense of empowered choice, like I can really choose. I was actually reading something that someone had written about their divorce experience, and then they're not a current client of mine. But I was reading something that they were writing, and I thought, and they made a comment about they made a particular comment about the home that they live in, and that they didn't have a choice. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. So many people don't think they have a choice. You always have a choice.
Yes, absolutely.
You have so many choices, but so often what happens, people don't want to take the responsibility of a different choice other than the one that they think is most obvious.
Yes.
Yeah.
People.
And to me, pardon?
Sorry, people are very often subconsciously they are very comfortable in their discomfort of what is it, the hidden gains of the not making
Yeah.
the empowered
And
choice.
look, absolutely, and I've been there. I've been there myself in the past. Absolutely. You know, but you know, in answer to your question is, you know, what is it that really allows people? It is knowing that you can have an empowered choice throughout your day, throughout your hour, throughout the 60 seconds. You always have a choice. And you know what's, and you know why this is pivotal, because it's really interesting how in brief moments, you know, in a minute, when someone makes a choice, their whole life could go down a completely different path.
Absolutely.
Isn't that where, you know, there's that movie Sliding Doors, where she does one thing, she does another thing. And to me, I've you know, I remember seeing something on this morning news once about a man who'd ended up getting involved in a fight, and to be fair to this poor man, he didn't want to fight this person that picked a fight with him, and he kept trying to walk away, tried to walk away, and in one brief moment the guy had hit him, and in the end he just punched him, and he punched the guy, and the guy fell down and he died, and it was all on video, and he obviously first initially got put in prison, but it all went through the courts, and anyway it was seen on all the video that, you know, this man had tried to walk away so many times from this other man that had started a fight with him. And, you know, in that moment, you know, between choice, you know, what do you do, what don't you do, the path of your life can literally be changed in a minute second.
Yes.
So to me, I really think that the power of choice, empowered choice, and knowing that, you know, when you get to the place in your life where you see that and you live from that place, I think that's when you really start to be a powerful creator, for me.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the powerful choices that we make very often are selfless. And this is what Dr. Joe teaches. You know, he says we are disempowered when we make selfish choices because we feel separated from the world. We feel separated from others.
Yeah.
We understand who we truly are when we go home. We see that we are one with everything. We are one with basically the whole of existence. And we can make empowered choices to become selfless, because what we give is what we receive. What we receive is what we give. And if we give the best of ourselves, we will only receive the best for ourselves. And even moments of challenges, you know, they are actually invitations to actually really be more selfless, and we're not talking about abuse, we're not talking about putting ourselves up in dangerous situations, you know, but we are talking about, you know, maybe speaking our truth, or coming from a more mature place when we are addressing conflicts, or when we are addressing not having our needs met, or when we are addressing, you know, things that used to trigger us. Yeah, no, thank you so much, Maxine. Is there anything else that I should have asked that I haven't asked?
No, you're great at these questions. They're great questions, and yeah, this is, you know, this step is, it is really the process of transformation. This particular step, it's really, you know, moving beyond the vision that you've had, or the place you've been living, particularly when people have gone through, you know, breakups and divorce, and they're single. It's really moving beyond that. And I love that whole concept of the process of transformation, that it is a process we go through, and that allows us the space to learn and to refine and adjust. And this is, you know, this is the start of really being able to live from possibility and new possibility. And that, to me, is a beautiful journey to be on.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Maxine. Just to remind everybody, Maxine has set up a heavily discounted sessions for people that want to know more about working with this process. So the money is going to be donated to a social enterprise called Nourish the Children, where we help feed a child, a malnourished child, for 1 month. So if you want to set up those sessions, they're heavily discounted: £16 for 1 hour, for 30 minutes, £32 for a whole hour. And these are heavily discounted prices. And thank you so much, Maxine, for making all your time to enlighten us. I really enjoyed and loved the synchronicity of our conversation tonight.
Yeah, that's lovely. Me too.
Just before, I mean, like literally, because I woke up very early this morning at 4 a.m., I had to choose what topic I would like discuss with my mastermind, and I was guided to watch, to really help a mastermind believe in creation. And I wanted to show, and then I found this testimonial of my friend who met his wife in this walking meditation before he even met her, and I was like, wow. And then you talk
perfect timing.
Yeah, and then you talk about this amazing expanded consciousness and our soul guiding us purposefully through our intuition and through synchronicities. And I mean, the beautiful perfection of the synchronicity just really speaks to my, really, it just makes me feel that, like, my intuition guided me to set up Superwomen Babes and to put on these webinars and to not have superficial short conversations with yourself. Sorry, you broke up for a while there. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, I was going to say I lost you.
Yeah. But anyway, so my guidance was that I needed to set up these webinars and really reach more people and really put it up on all the social media channels so people could hear the message. So I'm so glad that I decided to work with you and to really interview you in such depth. And it's just coming together in a very beautiful way. And I'm grateful that even men are listening to our conversation.
Yeah, no, that's sure. Well, thank you, everybody, for listening.
Friends have like tuned in, and I think this whole process is not just about calling in the soulmate. It's basically calling in your true self so that you can create an amazing life. Yeah,
it is, absolutely. That's a good way of putting it, Angelique.
Yeah.
So lovely. So we'll see all the listeners tomorrow as well.
Yes. What is the topic tomorrow? Can you give us a preview?
The topic from tomorrow, because there's actually sort of 7 week program, I'm going to embody the last 2 weeks together. Okay. So it's really about putting yourself first and the life worth living. We're going to embody that all together.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, and looking forward to.
It's a pleasure. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Lots of love. Good night, everybody.
Thank you. 9:45.
Bye.
Okay, lots of love. Bye bye.